Hey everybody, welcome to episode 59 probably of Tactical Crouch. We're a competitive Overwatch podcast, and we did 2 game nights last week. A ton of fun. Out of all of us, I think Joe is the worst at Quiplash.
Yep. I'm the worst.
That tends to happen when one basically only spends 25% of that one brain cell on that game
that's
while
the trick.
doodling on
That's the trick. You have to kind of like communicate not on a high level, but on a very base general level to try and get as many votes as possible.
That's true.
So you don't want to overthink it. You want to simplify everything. So it's just whatever first comes to you, you put it down. As long as it's not Twitch TOS, you're good.
Makes perfect sense because all the crouches that were there shared one brain cell for their humor. So
Just because no one voted for you either, and I won multiple games both nights.
No, you were actually good at it. I don't have any beef with that or with Mate's humor winning. Just you remember, for instance, like the invisible laundry not getting any votes. Like that's just sad.
Yeah, invisible laundry was funny. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Inside jokes. Be there. Do you know how you can be at our game nights? Anybody can join our game nights, but our patrons and our Twitch subs get guaranteed placements in those game nights. And they're a lot of fun. We played some other Overwatch games too. I really like the Roadhog Globe one. Or no, Reinhardt Globe one, where you're like bouncing on a ball, all of you, and you're just swinging at each other.
That one was fun.
And Joe is just crouching at the bottom, hoping nobody notices. Never won a game.
Nope.
Never won a game.
I enjoyed myself though. I quite enjoyed that.
It was just like, eventually we had to gang up on Joe.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Played some hide and seek. It was just a really good time. That's patreon.com/tacticalcrouch or twitch.tv/KickedTripod. Ton of fun. Definitely come. We'll do. We're done for October and September, but we're going to be doing game nights in November. So come hang out for those. Other than that, we've got a lot to talk about this week. We really do, and so let's do that now. And the big thing to probably talk about that's probably as far away from competitive Overwatch as we'll ever deviate is BlizzCon, right? So we've got BlizzCon this next week. It's been a heck of a year for Blizzard, I think, just in general. They've had a tough one. But in this past week, we've gotten some rumors coming up for Overwatch and the future of the game. Saw some leaked Overwatch 2 logos and artwork and details, as well as a new hero named Echo, who looks like if you combine Eve from WALL-E and the robots from Portal. That's Echo.
Yep.
It's basically
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to spend too much time speculating on that. But I do want to talk a little bit about this Overwatch 2 rumor. There's a lot of rumors going around. Some people are saying it's PvE only, and then other people are saying it's a totally redesign of the game and the fundamentals of where we are. Those are both wrong, right? Those.
Yeah, I think.
Are they? Nobody knows.
I think the thing that was actually reported and also
do we believe that? I don't know.
Supported by. So okay, what happened is basically Slasher put a bunch of stuff out there. Then what usually happens when stuff is incorrect is people that actually know come back to him, and then he has to delete tweets, and whatever sticks, in my estimation. And what stuck is not the name and what we can expect, and I think that will actually be a thing, is that we're going to see a new map type called Push. I think that's very likely to happen.
On Toronto.
and Overwatch is a PvE game because the talent trees and whatnot. I think that would be a lot of effort to fake those. Also the graphics we've seen. So I think those we can reasonably be confident about that this has something to do with what we're going to get at BlizzCon.
Great question in chat. Will I need the virtual ticket to see the Overwatch announcement? So usually and this could be different this year, I haven't verified it, but usually the opening ceremony is free to watch. And then the esports events are also free to watch, and they're on Twitch and wherever else. And then it's usually the individual panels and, of course, like the digital goodies that you need the virtual ticket for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So there is that. I hate the fact. So there's been a lot of discussion about the name Overwatch 2, and if Overwatch League Season 3 is played on Overwatch 1 or Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
I think it's so. I think that what they're doing is, I think they're doing a Destiny 2 rebrand. Did you guys play Destiny 2 when it came out?
Yeah.
Relatively close. Did you guys ever play Destiny 1?
No.
F. Well,
but
chat's gonna get this.
Weren't those two games completely different? Wasn't it more than just a reskin, like new quests, all like?
So yes and no. So yes, in the sense that you had So Destiny for a lot of reasons did have a lot of community problems similar to Overwatch that Destiny addressed in subsequent expansions. But didn't really get the player base back. So they relaunched Destiny as Destiny 2. And like honestly, graphically, you couldn't show me Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 on a console and I'd be like, oh, that's Destiny 2. Graphically, very, very, very similar. Some new systems. They changed, how the certain planets work and run and those how those are like exist in the world. But ultimately what this was, in my opinion, it was a very gigantic expansion without when you call something Destiny 2, you're saying come back. And it's a little bit harder to do that with expansion. Yeah. So for me, it was a marketing sequel to an expansion. That's personally how I feel like that's how I feel about Overwatch 2. Like they could, in my opinion, they could launch a PvE mode within the existing client that we have now with these new things and a new map type. Done. No problem. But look at who's streaming and playing and watching Overwatch 2. Not nearly the amount of people who initially were. And you always have that drop off, but you have so many people who are actually invested and really love Overwatch the world. The fundamental game of Overwatch, I feel like people really enjoy. It's kind of the people that ruin it, and they've put in systems to do that. Rumor is they have even more systems to kind of help make that enjoyable experience and scratch that PvE itch. It's, for me, it's just a incremental update that they're gonna make some money off of because it's gonna cost $60.
Is it?
I suppose,
or $40. It's gonna cost something.
Don't know.
I suppose what is interesting is how we define. Like I feel like we don't, as a scene or as like an industry, have a clear definition of what entails a DLC, because a DLC could be something like Destiny, where you play through in like 20 hours most of the content. It could also be something like Witcher DLCs. That's pretty much like,
that's a whole nother
usually
game,
like a whole game in terms of just the volume of content that you got. Like other games would have easily gotten that. I guess we will have to see just how much content it is, right? Like certain other games get facelifts every year, and then they get a PvP update or whatnot, I can definitely see how different developers have different requirements for volume of content in terms of what they want to call it. I do agree, though, that in order to get people back, or calling it Overwatch 2 or something like that signals that it's a new standalone game is much more potent at getting people back than it would be if you just said, oh yeah, DLC, PvE DLC, or like you definitely need some overwork on certain systems. But yeah, we will see. I think based on the amount of content, we will see just if the title, because they like seemingly want to call it Chapter 2, maybe like that has been the correction. It will be interesting to see how that will be defined and how large it just is and how long it also binds people. Is there a replay value in it at all? Are there PvE leaderboards? Because, for instance, we know that with Mythic Dungeons, we even made an esport out of that. Yep. What if there's Mythic Dungeon-like speedruns that, by the way, we've already demonstrated has some audience for some time in these Junkenstein top tier lists.
Well, it's the Junkenstein. It's the all the PvE chapters that are coming out. People are interested in like pushing the difficulty and finding out little niche strategies to kind of attack these maps, and expanding on that isn't going to hurt anything. It's if anything, it's going to get people back into the game that aren't really interested in playing the quick play. I think what really stood out to me is somebody had made a pretty interesting point on Twitter that I wish I could credit. I can't think of the name. Overwatch, and they said that Overwatch has a very large fan base that's never actually played the game. So they thought that there was a huge fan base around the game.
I think actually said that
could have
responding to Slasher.
Could have been. And that's pretty interesting. So how do you kind of bring those people in? Is it something that's a little bit more casual? Is it something that's more akin to an RPG? You know, this game was kind of built on the back of what looked like it was going to be a very Destiny-esque RPG game. I think that would be a good way to get people back in, or at least get people that are on the fringe in. And another way to do this, which I do think there is enough, not evidence, but there's signs pointing me towards free to play for the future of Overwatch. I don't know what kind of monetization model they go for, but with how much pressure Riot's putting on, with how much you really need this to succeed, I wouldn't be surprised if Overwatch for the future was just going to be free to play, and you have other things to purchase in game that kind of funnel the money.
I think they could do. I don't think anybody has ever balked at Overwatch's price. I really don't. I really don't. So you're right. There is a certain demographic. I don't know. I work with a couple youth centers here in San Jose, I guess is the best way, and stuff. And so like, I'm not saying like I have the pulse on the youth. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't know. I don't know if anybody was like, I want to play Overwatch, but I can't because I had to buy it one time. If anything, it's more like the expansion games, like Destiny and those games where it's like every 6 months you have to pay another whatever, 20, 30, 40 bucks to do. So, but I agree, it's still more restrictive than a free-to-play game, right? No matter what. I do think that they totally redesigned the loot box infrastructure because
I think they're going to have to.
It was, I don't want to say too consumer friendly, but it was just too unexciting, I guess. If that's the word I would use. It was just not, it was not very fun to like get loot boxes after the first year. Outside of the event loot boxes, I think the event loot boxes do very well, but I don't like. I'm like, oh yeah, two blues and two whites. Yes, this is great. I don't feel that way.
I think they would need to overhaul the entire skin system, right? Just the entire microtransaction system.
Aren't they going to have to, like, legally at some point? with how much like nonsense has gone around, like
I'm sure that
Maybe.
there,
legal proceedings with loot boxes.
I would bet right now, I would lord bet anybody that they have a segment about transparency. Anyone want to
In
lord
terms
bet
of
me?
what?
In terms of what?
In terms of acquiring cosmetics in Overwatch.
Probably.
I mean,
Because
that seems pretty safe.
They got such unfair press for that bullshit. Like, Overwatch is not nearly as exploitive about their skin and microtransactions as FIFA is, as CSGO is. You know, all these other skin microtransaction games, like the prices are relatively affordable. You get most of the skins by just playing. If you're a completionist, of course you got to spend some money into that, but even then it's not nearly as much. Like, there's a hard cap how much you can spend in Overwatch, and it's significantly lower than in other games. So I always thought that this entire loot box discussion was unfairly focused, often focused.
I think it was because of
Overwatch.
the peak of the game, right? I think that coincided with the big discussion around loot boxes and gambling in gaming. And Overwatch just happened to be the game at the time in the press. So I think, it was unfortunate and it was unjustified for the most part. But I think most people are going to have to take and move away from loot box.
I just think loot boxes are I think that they're just a bad long-term system. Like, as much as there's things to, I think, really admire about it, in the sense of, for all the reasons that we're talking about. It's like the least expensive of just about any serious shooter game. It's consistent. It's semi-frequent. Like, let's be real. Even if you go and play quick play or custom games, you can at least get a loot box in a play session if you're playing for more than a couple hours. Like, that's really great, and I think really consumer focused. Where the consumer focus is lost, though, is, let's be real, don't you want that skin that nobody else has? Don't you want that skin that is only available for this time? And it's why the event loot boxes do so well. But at the same time, like, I hate to say it, I don't want to give them I think Fortnite does it better, in which, like, there's a couple of skins that have only been out on the store one time or two times in 3 years or 2 years, however long it's been.
I think Overwatch in general goes for a battle pass system, goes free to play entirely. Overwatch Chapter 2, whatever this new thing's going to be announced, is going to be free to play. Everybody gets it. They're just going to shift monetization away. Like, you're already seeing it with card games, like Riot's card games going to be completely shifted. They're going to do the whole skin, like limited time skin system. If they're going to do in-game items, those will have skins for the PvE side of things. So if you really want to have Mercy with like a unicorn, and you want like Genji to have some sort of like epic dragon, demon blade, edgelord thingamabob, like, you can buy that, but you're gonna be able to do it for free now. Like, right, you're gonna be able to buy that, but you're gonna be able to play the game for free. So that's just kind of where my mind.
Maybe just the PvP portion. I could see that too, because I can tell you, there certainly have been forces within that industry that asked to have this be free to play.
Sure.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the big thing, that we get the PvP thing for free. You can buy the PvE add-on. It's not required in order to play the PvP portion.
But if you want to.
Yeah, the new content that we get in PvP will also be, like, as in like push, you won't have to pay anything for that.
Yeah.
I think it would very much be in the interest of the Overwatch League teams, for instance, for that to happen. Just like, because PvP players or competitive rank players are much easier to convert into viewers than they are from a PvE portion. That was true in World of Warcraft. That was basically true in all games where there are those two options.
Sure, then it makes sense.
That's also one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. If it is a heavy PvE focus, how much does that actually do for us for the competitive audience. Because I can tell you, it is very possible that with the TV marketing and, like whatever they need to do to get people on Twitch, that this all works out for the Overwatch League. It does not for the surrounding industry. In terms of content creators, in terms of like streamers, writers, it just doesn't hit there. And basically, either you are currently fighting a losing battle, have genius marketing abilities, or have really found your niche, or you just don't know that you're about to go bankrupt in Overwatch as a content creator. So it definitely needs to be something that focuses and brings back some of the masses, and then we also need
you need transitional system to filter them up. That's the big talking point.
In-client Overwatch League live streams or something like that, where PvE players log into their PvE portion of the game and you're automatically logged into Overwatch League, maybe already just like one click away from opening Twitch.
It in the background, since they're already doing that on websites.
I mean, that is a little. I mean, it shouldn't count as a viewer then, right?
I'm just kidding. It was just a
But being able to watch it in the client, a la stream or Steam,
dude,
I think it's Steam TV.
An actual spectator position on the live map in real time.
Sure. I think if they stay with. I think if they stay with Twitch, I think it would be very who of them to remove the POV access from a price wall and just give it to the mass on.
I mean, they don't have they're done, right? Their Twitch.
Well, their deal is up. There's talk of
the initial $90 million deal is up, right?
Yes.
So I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I think that if I'm making a prediction, I think that Overwatch 2 will cost nothing for people who bought Overwatch 1. I'm going to say that right now. I think that they're going to charge people for the game itself. I don't know if they're going to charge less or the full $60.
Okay.
But that's what I think. I think that they can make that justification still look really great from a PR perspective. It's fair to the people who paid the $60 to play the game. It's also fair to the people who didn't pay $60 to play the game. But even if it's $40, whatever. Which was what the base mode of Overwatch cost on PC after the initial batch of Founders collections, right? Can't you buy it on PC right now for $40 or something like that, and you just don't get the initial skins? I don't even know if you can get those anymore. But yeah. Anyways, so that's what I think. And I agree. I think that competitive mode largely stays unchanged. The graphics largely stay unchanged. I think that you retain your skins. I think that basically what they're doing is it could be easily an expansion, right? If Overwatch did expansions, which you can't do every 3 to 4 years, you have to do semi-often. We have patches, not expansions in Overwatch. I think that's the route they go. I think you're right. They retool cosmetics and the in-game store. I think they retool spectating. I think that they retool that. But again, fundamentally, the systems in Destiny from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 didn't really change. They just added additional levels. And if you played Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 at all, it's just they took that system, changed it a little bit, applied this, and boom, they're there. It wasn't outside of we've been working on this for a long time to make it work on PC too, which I think is a whole other story. Again, I consider Destiny 2 a very large expansion, but it also it contracted in content so much because they relaunched a whole new story, and basically from that story is where that's kind of where you were bound until the next expansion. Now it's as big as Destiny 1 ever was. And if Destiny 2 launched today, as large as Destiny 1 was when it was concluded. I totally agree. So I don't know, man. I'm excited to see what happens this week.
Yeah,
Joe, you're going to be there.
Yes, I will be there. Come say hi.
And you're sending
I'll
all
be
of your
there.
exclusives to us, I believe, right? That's
We can talk about them, but they won't be very exclusive at that point. That Tuesday.
fair enough. Wow. You can send that Go XLR Mini right back.
Give me that press pass.
I would.
No, I know.
So honestly, we did have press passes lined up.
Oh, did you? Interesting.
We were offered, and then I was just like, it's way too late.
I feel you.
I don't think you already had one, so this is probably not the place to tell you that.
Are you going as press, Joe?
Yeah. I'll probably be working most of
Joe will never have to
Friday.
fight for a press pass again.
That's not true.
After last year or whatever, he'll never have to fight for a press pass again.
Well, we'll see. I have to stay on the good graces of Blizzard Activision, so we'll see.
There's just like a list. It's called the relax list. And there's just like 2 names on there, Harsha and Volamel. And you're forever getting press passes.
Relax.
Yeah.
Mr. Beastie asks, at least on the competitive PvP side, does an Overwatch 2 allow them to take out things for problematic heroes but still keep them available for PvE? I don't think that they go that route, but I think that if they were going to go that route, this would be the time to do it and justify it. Like if they're like, you know what, bans, we're going to do hero bans. We're going to do map bans. We're going to do whatever. Like,
Sure.
Overwatch 2 Chapter 2 is the time to do that for sure. I think the question becomes, will Blizzard actually do it?
Kasaurus left ATL. Interesting.
Yep. Interesting, yeah.
I've heard good things. I'm surprised that they let him go.
Yeah. Interesting.
Atlanta's a weird team. I don't know if we want to jump into rumors and team stuff, but
Let's do it. That's it. That's our
That's a good-
BlizzCon primer.
Yeah.
We're, as you can tell, we're really excited about it. Joe, survive those. Make sure to be careful around those protests, man.
I'm pretty I blend in well, so I think I'll be okay.
Fair enough.
Did you already buy your Fuck Hong Kong t-shirt?
No, but I do have emergency.
Your red hat?
You're fuck on.
I do have emergency just in case. I'll be
Wow.
taking.
What's that?
Wow.
It's like this vitamin C supplement, so I don't get sick.
Jesus.
All
I
right.
slam it before and after.
Let's talk about confirmed movements in Overwatch League this past week, eh?
Let's do it. Oh,
Boston
that's not the right
Uprising. Joe, Yiska, what's going on with Boston Uprising? Right there in the
Confirmed.
notes.
They pull a fast one.
They got somebody who I've been very excited for. Myunbong is value.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Now, Jerry, we're gonna have to see. I don't know. I can't say that I have a ton of information on him or even just experience watching him. I've heard that he was good on meta, but like really like nothing really to write home to mom about. I'm gonna do a little bit more research into that and probably do a video on my channel just to give a more educated take, but not Myunbong. Very exciting. People should be very excited in terms of like Boston fans. That's definitely somebody to be excited about. Jerry, on the other hand, we'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a main DPS, as Huck put it last night, that is going up against some very good talent. So comparatively, how good is Jerry really? I have a feeling he's not going to necessarily measure up directly, but maybe he brings some intangibles. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. Honestly, like I'm a little disappointed that Boston got Myunbong, especially then with the Jerry announcement after, because I feel we've still not seen demonstrated that Boston Uprising is both good at picking up unknown talent and doing it without Krusty. So in terms of like, just like, I feel like Mayan Bong could have done better. Could have landed in a better team. I think there is certainly on some better rosters, there's a hole in where the flex support role is, especially because he was also so consistent. Another thing is that's interesting, and I kind of understand it more now that like that I saw that he's only turning 18 like late into the season, just before the MAC deadline, is Manju, because that kid was also very very good. Like I feel like they were the most consistently good backline in Korean contenders, and I don't know if anyone will try that. I don't know if it's the thing is, I can totally see how it's less justifiable to have a main support come in very late, because they usually are transformative to a team in terms of like shot calling, and maybe you don't want to restart. At the same time, he then turns into one of the primary like teams that screw up, let's say in the first stage, and want to turn it around, and then they pick someone like him up. Then it takes a while to get those visas and everything cleared. And then he could come in for the last, I mean, we don't have stages, but like the last stage of the season.
Yeah. The last couple, months, weeks, whatever.
Yeah. And could maybe turn around and make it so that a team gets into
makes a playoff race. Sure. Or play-in race, definitely. I don't know if we're going to see them join that late. I think for some teams that are a little bit slow to make adaptations to their rosters, that definitely could be the case. But for those who kind of identify problems and holes early, I think you can probably get them in about mid-season during whatever break there is, if there even is one. I have to really sit down and I think if you can see things early and you're still just trying to wait out the initial roster signings and moves and then see who's left and try to approach it from that angle, I definitely think you could probably get a couple extra signings in the midseason and have them ready, visas on the plane, traveling with the team by midseason, if you get in early. So definitely could be a possibility.
That is actually kind of interesting. I haven't even thought about that the situation of what kind of a agent you sign is maybe based on travel schedule, because it makes certain visa situations. Like if you pick up a Chinese player while your team is in China for 4 weeks, then you can work on the visa for the next region like beforehand, and maybe that is something that has to be considered. But yeah, like in general, it will be interesting to see just how teams react to very bad starts, because of it, for instance, I think it would have been significantly harder to do what Valiant did next season, just based on travel schedules.
I mean, to that degree, again, like you're not going to see a Florida mid-season Korean rebuild. You're not going to see just a bunch of Western players let go. I mean, I guess you possibly could if the rest of your, like, for instance, right, a lot of your travel is front loaded in the schedule, and then towards the mid-season, if you're really just crap in the bed and you need a full rebuild, I guess there's there's a world where this hypothetical team could just sign a bunch of Western players who don't need a visa because we're only going to be playing in North America. That could happen, but again, like I think that that chance of rebuilds happening in the middle of a season probably won't happen all that much. I think that definitely goes down. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. The jury is out on Jerry, but Young Bong is primo. Very, very good.
Fair enough.
Very, very, very solid signing for Boston. What they do around him, we'll have to see.
Let's talk about the Paris Eternal.
What a team. What a team.
What a team. Paris Eternal making some big moves
elemental moves, you might say.
See,
LOL.
this is interesting because we maybe for the first time in Crouch history, Joe is about to shit on a team while I'm going to talk them up. So we're role playing here.
Well, I don't even know if
inverse Chengdu. Let's go.
Yeah, right. I am generally concerned about Paris. I want to see what this team looks like when it finishes roster building. They have a lot of people still under contract that I'm not high on, and I don't think you're high on either. But we can both probably assume that some of those players are going to go. Right? I think that's a safe assumption.
So can we talk about that for a second? Let's just talk. Let's just break this down. So in the past week-ish, since we last discussed, Paris Eternal signed from Element Mystic Sparkle, Hanbin, and we're gonna argue Eggsy.
Sure. You know who it is.
Yes.
XZI.
They've signed XZI. So their current roster is XZI, Soon, Sparkle, and Nico. Ben Best and Hanbin, Cruz, Hip, and Gray. So those are who are currently on the roster.
Right.
Finzies gone, Nico and Shadowburn, or sorry, not Nico. Shadowburn's gone, Danye's gone. So right now we're seeing a shift where we've essentially added 3 Element Mystic players. Otherwise, the rest are all Eternal 2019 players.
Correct.
I know that right off the top of my head. For audio listeners, memorized it. Nothing to see here.
Do you want to talk about maybe the new Korean players' ages? Is that still their ages
or
still
agents?
Ages. Their year of birth.
Yes.
Their ages are still pretty young. I believe that Sparkle turns 18 in May of 2020. So these are additions that will trickle into the roster.
Yeah.
That doesn't really give me a lot of hope. We saw what happened with Super and Sinatra. Now, that could be extraneous circumstances why that didn't necessarily work out. That could be the base roster not being super fantastic to begin with. Trickling in your talent, I don't think is necessarily beneficial. Or I guess you could just completely forfeit, a quarter of your season, only practice with these starters that you plan on playing with, and that was your roster to begin with. And really try to attack the season once you have your talent and once you have your actual starting roster available. But as of right now, unless they go mostly Korean and have some European additions to kind of keep it mixed, I don't like this team. I don't think they're very good. Sparkle is a good player. I think he's starting to get on that overrated angle where I think we're we're completely missing the fact that this kid tends to be a very, very overly aggressive, bumper-esque aggression. And if you have a mixed roster where communication's still being worked on, this, that, the other thing, that style of play is not going to lend itself to success for this Paris Eternal team. Now they have a mostly Korean coaching staff.
Yeah,
I do have to.
Saita is the only non-Korean coach,
which leads me personally to believe that this will be a mostly Korean team by February. Right, by the start of the league, this will be a mostly Korean team. In my opinion, will probably change. Now, if that isn't the case, and this is a European Korean mix, I don't see how this team's going to do well.
I mean, status quo, I agree. If that team, as it is right now, starts into the season,
that's almost a bottom 5 team.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I don't want to say that about Sparkle. I tend to agree with what Wolf said. I'd be sad to see this kid. He's very talented, could be a starter on a lot of other teams. Putting him on Paris with a solid coaching staff, this coaching staff isn't anything to shake your head about. Rush, fantastic coach. Levi has worked with Element Mystic before. 9K coming off of a championship. Saita, I mean, the kind of enigma of Europe. And then Aid moving into a coaching role. He has the player experience to come over and help manage emotions, this, that, the other thing. Very likable and affable person. Hopefully I'm using that word correctly. the coaching staff seems good. This roster just, it doesn't make sense right now. And that's why I'm worried. That doesn't, I could drastically change my opinion come January. I'm hoping to do so because this is not good as of right now. I'm not excited for this team.
Yeah, I agree. My presumption is that there definitely will be moves made, just like from the pieces that they have. I don't know why. Like, I'm not even sure if Saita's staying.
Yeah.
It just seems to be clearly implicitly communicated that something is going to change in this team that makes these things come whole and just make sense. And I think at least the moves now, I don't feel that bad about. We'll see. I think there are definitely some very potentially potent free agents now on the market that they could court.
Like they have a solid base. I just don't know how they're going to fill out this team. That's a lot of money to spend to get people out of these contracts. Unless you can offset them somewhere else. I don't know who's going to be in the market for some of these players. Cruz maybe could go. I don't see them really getting rid of soon. That seems like a very, very good fit for the region, for the location, for the team itself. Like, that seems like somebody who you're going to want to hold on to. So I don't see Soon leaving, but like everybody else, like who's really in the market for Nico? Anybody want to buy him? I don't see anybody really putting up a bid for his contract. So they're going to have to pay him out of his contract and then get mostly Korean players. And that's an expensive move. Now,
I don't even mind him, dude. Like, he's probably, let me see.
Out of the people that they have, I mean, the third most,
in line. Yeah. I agree.
But like, anybody going to pay for Ben, Hip?
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
if it doesn't rhyme with
Fuzix them.
Flatamy, if it doesn't rhyme with that, I don't think so.
Sure. And that's where I have to question, like, do you have to pay them out of their contract, then maybe move them into an academy role? How does that work? Is there any way to kind of mitigate that? I have no idea. I don't know any kind of like corners to cut there, but this is going to be expensive either way.
Yep. Sometimes there's corners you can cut because there's a lot you can do with your roster.
Sure.
Sometimes there's no corners to cut because there's nothing you can do with your roster. And who best defines that than the Dallas Fuel? See that segue?
Sure.
Sorry, we gotta keep this truck
keep
moving.
It moving.
Dallas Fuel, most of their players are locked up.
Yeah.
They're pretty locked. Taimu, AKM, Zachary, Trill, OGE, Mickey, Harry Hook, Unco, all kind of signed. You know what? We're skipping around a little bit. These are actually a rumor roundup. Not confirmed. This is rumor world.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped around. I thought I was better at this than I am.
Well, I mean, we were talking about confirmed moves, but if you want to get into some Dallas rumors, we definitely can.
I can segue anything. Let's be real. I can segue so many things, just like I just segued that bad segue into this great segue about the Washington Justice.
Beautiful.
The Washington Justice have confirmed to add Tatuba.
I don't think
it's
any
Tatuba. No.
No,
Tatuba. Do you like my new tattoo?
Tattoo?
My tattoo? I've got a tattoo of a giraffe.
You're Jajano. You're Jay Jonak.
A tattoo.
It's gonna happen. You're gonna like encounter
we're not
somebody.
Skipping Dallas. We're doing confirmed moves.
We'll get to Dallas.
We're
Don't
gonna
worry
go
about
into rumored moves.
Yes.
Tatuba.
You're gonna go to an Overwatch event and somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see my favorite player play," and you're gonna be like, "Oh, who's your favorite player?" Like, you're super excited. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, my favorite player is Tatuba," and I'm just gonna
heel turn on him. Just like go like,
come on, man. There's Janu. We've got that one down. We've got Janu. No, Janu.
Janu. You got Nixel.
We've got
Nixel.
We've got Jay Jonak. We've got D Ding.
Jajonak.
Come on. We'll get there together. I'll hold your hand.
Ding.
Just ding.
Ding.
Not
Jonak,
D-ding.
Nixel.
Not double D-ding. Not double T tuba.
It would be
It's
double
just tuba.
ding, by the way.
Sure, whatever.
Come on, dude.
Just read it the way it's supposed to be read.
Ding. Tuba.
It just, I don't like.
So Washington Justice confirms signing Tuba from Bubble Burster Gaming.
Yes.
Speaking of Bubble Bursters, love having you on the show, Joe. Appreciate it. Glad
No
you're
problem.
here.
Glad to be
I
here.
feel really great every time I say a word.
I don't know why that just bugs me. It just irks me the way that people like read specifically like the Korean characters like twice, where it's like Jay Jonak. I'm like, no, that's not it. You missed. It's
Sorry,
not Jay Jonak.
am I supposed to be fluent?
No,
in Korean?
It's not. It's not you.
Am I
it's
supposed
not
to?
you.
Is that something that is
No, but we all say it pretty
me.
normally, and it's like maybe you just kind of pick up on it. Maybe. Not you though. Not you. Definitely.
To be fair,
wasn't
Jonak was
directed at you.
season 1 MVP. A little bit different than
Jonak.
some dude from
We've
Bubble
got
Burster
Janu. We've
Gaming.
got Ding.
Are you sure it's not?
It's all the same. It's a pattern.
Are you sure
we
it's
can
not
pick up on that
Bubble
context
Burster
clues.
Gaming? It might be Bubble Burster Gaming.
I mean, those are English words though.
I don't know.
I think
so
we're
is
doing one of these.
Tuba. So is Tuba.
to-
Tuba is a very English word. I don't know of anyone if you know of anyone from Korea playing a tuba.
I
You let me
think
know.
you both have dumb tongues and you should French kiss to shut the hell up.
Yeah, you don't get to talk.
You had to do me like that.
That's how Yiska pronounced a tuba. That game guy 0703. You ever tell me what to do again, and I will ban you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like that's a little bit of a left field thing, I suppose. I mean, some of those we know that certain players like are scouted based on their abilities. Certain players are scouted in open tryouts and whatnot. Like, it's very hard to predict that. I will say I always thought actual match game performance is for me the biggest indicator, and I cannot talk about that. Like, have you watched any of their games at all?
Yeah, some of the last most recent Bubble Burster like playoff series. Solid, not anything to like really write home to mom about. I think as far as good, I think his projectile heroes mostly are pretty good. Wasn't super like jazzed about his May. Played Brig and Goats, so basically like a Pharah. Like I can see them maybe trending to Pharah for him, and then splitting time with Stratus elsewhere. Genji probably be good for him. Hanzo again, probably a competitive pick within that team, but it's fine. I'm not like super excited about it, but there could be specific areas where he could thrive. Basically, that's as far as I'll go with him.
What team color is Bubble Burster Gaming?
Like blue and yellow and some other like blackish, I
I'm
think.
just surprised that anybody signing with the Washington Justice isn't wearing a purple jersey at this point.
Yeah.
It's about all the analysis that I have on Tuba.
Can we? I just want to really briefly do like a mood check. Like, what is currently? What would you say are the two best teams in Chinese contenders?
Sparks Academy team, Billy Gaming, and in terms of standings, it'd probably be LGE Huya, which is Chengdu's Academy team. But I think it's probably I think Billy's definitely the highest for me, and then below them, I think it's a tie between like LGE's like peak and then like LGD Gaming's like consistent. Like they always seem to get the playoffs. They always seem to.
Okay.
You're going somewhere. That's okay.
Yeah. How do they match up against Korean contenders?
Those three teams could
Equally.
like definitely not equally. They could maybe like get into like the bottom. LG maybe could do okay. Billy should do okay. Like they wouldn't be winning Korean contenders, but they might do okay.
Man, that
I don't know if they
check.
make playoffs.
I thought you guys finally escaped that bullshit, but of course, like I was thinking maybe like Chinese Overwatch like enthusiasts had finally gotten over their edge and had just been hammered into reality that the idea that this region can compete with the best teams in Korea was finally clapped dead, and that's usually just the progression in all esports I followed. It's like Chinese esports, Western experts come in and say, oh, they can maybe even compete with Korea. Then it's like international tournament. This is the point where I thought we were. Apparently we are here, but this is the point where like the experts are actually lower on Chinese teams than it's actually warranted. And then something miraculous happens is where the quality of Chinese teams actually accelerates so much that these guys get hype again, and then Chinese esports is actually on top. I thought we were finally at the bottom of like where you guys are just like completely jaded by
the longest analogy ever recorded.
Keep going.
What?
Keep going.
But like apparently you guys are still deluded into believing that anything that you follow there matters in the international scale. I guess we gotta have another gauntlet or another Atlantic Showdown to finally bang you into submission.
Yeah.
See, only you two guys find that not uninteresting because you were actually brainwashed enough to host that shit.
Yeah. I mean,
I put tier 2 Chinese Overwatch on my back, sir. Well, you sat in your little Germany ivory tower.
How's your back now?
It hurts, actually. I was telling about my back is actually physically in pain and has been ever since Chinese contenders.
I feel like you must be sitting in a wheelchair right now.
All I know is that every year, the percentage of Chinese Overwatch games that Yiska watches goes down.
Speaking of,
while the number of
I did watch Gauntlet, by the way.
While the number of Chinese Overwatch, the number of people who watch Chinese Overwatch goes up and continue to be right about it. So I just find this weird like thing where you watch less, you talk about it more, and
since Yiska's got jokes today, let's go through all the teams that Chengdu placed higher than. Are you ready? We're gonna talk about the Valiant. We're gonna talk about Paris, Dallas, Houston, Toronto, Washington, Boston, Florida. That's a lot of teams. That's a lot of teams. So if you wanna joke, proof's there.
I mean, if anyone at this point in the podcast still doubts what kind of t-shirt Joe will attend BlizzCon with, I don't know what to tell you. It's definitely in Chinese colors.
I'm not buying those new jerseys. Those new. Okay. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but
those new jerseys. He said Chinese colors because he didn't actually know what the colors of China were.
No, we have education in Europe.
Because he's watched so few Chinese contenders or any sort of tournaments. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh man.
All right.
I bet Joe couldn't point to China on the map.
Yeah.
Right below Korea. Wait.
Yeah, that's the one.
I kind of want to try now. I just want to ask you guys, just like, which country is this? Africa?
So I could point relatively. If you tell me where China and Korea are relative to each other, I would need 2 guesses. I would need 2 guesses. That's what I would need.
My geography
not even once.
Bad. I could get the location of China.
I'm looking it up right now to see if I'm right. I just doubt myself because Yiska.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
examine his face. Chat, examine his face.
Yeah, exactly where I said it was.
That's this third lie you told today.
For the audio listeners.
The second one being, I love having you on the show.
Yeah.
The first one being like, I'm glad we tried to make your mic sound better.
Isn't it a little bit more fun to be flamed in high quality? Let's be honest.
It's true.
I am
Makes it a
so
little
I
less funny.
I don't know, man. At least I don't know. I'm done with the World War II jokes because they're easy. I don't know. We're good.
Yeah, because
But
you
are we
have
done with
as
the
much in
Toronto
common
jokes?
with your grandfather winning the war as a Chihuahua has with a wolfhound. Let's
Go
be
make more
honest.
hand
A
grafts.
Chihuahua
Could
has
not be a
with
more
what?
domesticated version of an American war hero.
What?
Yiska's gonna go make more
No,
hand
you
grafts.
guys just
Yiska's
okay.
gonna
Chat,
make
please back
more
me up.
hand
That was
grafts.
a fire
We're
analogy.
gonna
I don't
go
even know what
talk
you
about-
heard. I don't even know what you said. Where
We're
is
gonna
a
talk about
Chihuahua
Toronto.
from?
So Kariv.
Where is a Chihuahua
Probably-
from, Yiska?
I would think Chile, maybe. Mexico.
See? It's not that. Need 2 guesses.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was weird.
Send in the drones.
So-
Jesus Christ.
So Chihuahua's from Mexico, but I started typing where is a Chihuahua just to make sure. And the number one, here's the thing. Whenever we have these conversations and I'm like, oh, I'm dumb in this way. Yiska's dumb in this way. Joe's dumb in this way. At least we didn't have this Google autofill. The number one response for where is a Chihuahua? Let me see. I'm gonna see if you can guess what the top autofill was. Where is a 1 Chihuahua heart located? 2, where is a Chihuahua's soft spot? Or 3, where is the Chihuahuan desert? Not dessert. Which one do you think
you know
was
why
the
that is
number
actually
1?
embarrassing? Because it's in a Mexican state. That's what it's called after. We're all
I
just cretins. Like, let's be honest, we're all just cretins. Like,
Chihuahuas are from Mexico. Yeah.
yeah, but they're called Chihuahuas because there's a state
They're
called
from
Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
let's just enjoy us being like
No.
just cretins.
Anyways, the top, where is a Chihuahua? It's where is a Chihuahua's heart located? It's the number 1 search for where is a Chihuahua.
What do these people think? Do they think it's like a Lamborghini where like instead of the back, front, like it's in the back? Like what the hell is going on? What kind of a question is that?
Contrary to all other mammals. By the way, I think we have to look this up now. Is it somewhere weird? Is located in the chest between the lungs.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
he doing? The I'm glad that chat picked it up on Lamborghini.
That's how we pronounce it in Germany.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Lamb or Genie.
Lamborghini.
It's a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know. Do I just end the show now? No, we've got time. We've got time.
Okay.
Toronto Defiant. Pretty big one here.
Yeah.
In some, I would say so.
That's not awful.
Toronto Defiant confirmed the signing of Kariv.
I think that's a big community signing. I think he's okay.
Yep.
I think again, that's a position that has a lot of talent in, so it's tough to be excited about that when you have players like Jonak and Shu and Twilight. Like the list goes on. Like there's a lot of really good flex supports. I don't think it's a bad signing by any means, but I think people are like very much like bigging up this signing as some sort of like crazy move, and it's okay. It's fine. Like I'd almost much. I don't know. I'd almost want Neko. Like I think Neko is probably competitive there. Kareev had like a couple games last season that were cool,
Don't
but
get me started on Echo.
yeah, I mean, you were very high on him early, so I don't know. I think Kareev's okay. I think it's a fine, like it's definitely not going to be a weak point for them in terms of like roster building, but is this as exciting as everybody makes it out to be? Definitely not. I think this is like incredibly lukewarm. I don't think this should be like anybody freaking out about it.
What is incredibly lukewarm? Like on the hot side of lukewarm, or incredibly right towards the middle of lukewarm, neither hot nor cold?
Just pretty room temperature. Like it's fine.
Feeling very I don't know,
Fence
specific
City
now. I feel like I need to like define and specify everything with Yiska here.
He
He's
might
got
come
an
at you.
agenda today.
So I don't know.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
No, you're gonna make
Response.
some more hand graphs. If we're here,
Don't fiddle around with your hand. I can tell you, as a German, that's dangerous.
see that was a good humor, Yiska. You did it. Good
What do
job.
you,
did
Yiska?
it. You made a joke.
Yiska, what
That wasn't
is
14
the
minutes
word
long.
fiddle?
Mm-hmm.
What is the word fiddle?
What do you mean?
Where does the word fiddle come from?
Fiddlesticks in League of Legends, of course.
I'm gonna fiddle with my brain cells.
No, it's from the music instrument, I assume, right?
Probably. If I had to guess.
Yeah, that's actually pretty close. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Toronto Defiant, adding Kareev. Fun. Gladiators.
Space.
Sign in space.
Now that is another move that I'm
Gaining
like,
space by losing some space.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's as like overstated, but I think his diva is very, very good. And I think that's a very good move if diva stays within the meta. But outside of that, I do have my questions. I do think that people are in the mindset of Overwatch is static. If space is good, then he's always good, which we have seen not to be the case. We have seen actually quite the opposite, where he doesn't see a ton of playtime in metas that require that role to kind of flex around. Now, with 222, this definitely benefits him because it requires him to play a much smaller hero pool. But we haven't really seen him play much else than diva to like a extremely high level. I do have my questions about him playing a Zarya, playing a Sigma, playing an Orisa if, you know, they want to make that kind of rotation around. I think for the future of Overwatch, we're going to see teams start to dabble more with inter sub roles, if that makes sense. Like you have your main role, which is tank, and then you have your sub role. So are you a flex tank or are you a main tank? I think those characters that are very associated with one sub role or the other, I think are going to start to switch around more in the role lock kind of era of the game. And I don't know if space is gonna be able to meet those expectations. I think his diva is fantastic. I think he is a good signing. I just want to see him play a little bit more and really get to see his flexibility in the role.
I will say there's probably never been a more probabilistic time that diva will not be played than right now. Like, I think after probably 1.5 years, maybe already 2 years of constantly playing diva, I think there's a high chance that we won't see her in the upcoming metas. So that in itself is interesting. Now, again, we have to say players can only play what they're supposed to play. Sure. So just because we only saw space on diva doesn't mean he's necessarily bad on the others. It could just mean he's slow at adapting to new heroes. And now that we have an off season, and if the meta indeed is settled, maybe he can grind into a position 100%. Where he plays a lot of Sigma, for instance, or stuff like that. You know?
I don't think it's necessarily like a net like negative, like we can't really directly criticize his hero pool because you're right, we haven't seen him play it, so therefore like we can't judge it. That's why again, framing it as his diva is very good. What else does he have in store for Gladiators? I think it's a very exciting signing for the Gladiators fans. I just am holding out reservations on what this team is going to look like and what his role in this team is going to be. So we'll see. I'm not sure. Good, but like a 7 out of 10 signing. Like good, but is it great? Are you going to win anything off this? I don't know.
Has Joe ever brought anything between 3 and 7 out of 10?
No.
And very lukewarm without defining it, right? So like very lukewarm to Joe can either be like on the hot side or cold side of lukewarm. In actuality, it's like very 50%-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel.
Come on, Joe.
Give me some good signings and I'll give you a 9 out of 10.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of these rumored signings.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Fusion. Carpe, Sato, Poco, Boombox. What do they need? Do they need an Ivy and a Funny Astro?
Talk about good signing. Funny Astro. That's like a 9 right there. That's a fantastic signing.
Out of 18?
Out of 10.
9 out of 10. I had to make sure.
We got him, guys.
That's fair.
Got him.
That's fair.
Got it. Asking you
He
shall receive.
overextended.
Yeah.
He did.
Rush him now.
Wow. You really chung dude this one.
Yeah.
So is that the big story here? Funny Astro, Yiska?
Yes, I think theoretically, like we can like guess that Alarm will be promoted, right?
Sure.
In terms of backline, they're set. I think
Definitely.
if they can get along, and we've seen that this works between Western main support and Alarm. We already saw that working with first Elk and then Kaka.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be too scared of that. In terms of Ivy, I'm actually kind of hyped if that was to come true.
Yeah,
because
and to just, I'm sorry to cut you off here. We are in the rumor section of the show, so these are not confirmed.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we could find out they weren't true. I would say usually the stuff that we talk about on the show, I would say like if we had to take a probability on it, usually between like 75 and 85% of the time they're going to come true. Which, based on the number of things we have to talk about, means one of these probably ends up not being true.
Yeah, I think it would probably be fair to give 3 states, mainly rumor or leak, reported by credible source such as ESPN, and confirmed by main source, team announcement, whatnot.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
And in the rumor state is Ivy, and before this last season started, I would say that Ivy I was certainly high on the expectations for him. Goat stayed a little bit too long around for him. He seems to be a very intuitive player that needs to learn the meta and just be able to grind into a position where he can make intuitive moves. And then theoretically, I can actually see him being a nutter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think
he has a very high ceiling.
Yes, I think
I wouldn't say he has a Carpe ceiling in terms of like we're not compare. Like I'm just saying in terms of like players that peak very high. Carpe peaks very high. Prophet peaks very high. Pine, Birdring, these are the high peakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say
Torbjorn peaks very high.
Yeah,
it does slap. It's been known to slap.
Learn that.
I peaked very high under the blanket when I saw the Prophet Gesture transfer.
Again,
I'm on fire.
You did
today.
it. You did humor. There's 2 out of like 19. I don't know if that's on fire. That was great. That one was pretty
See,
good.
like it's pretty much like Jackbox, where I just get you with the lame ones, and the other ones
because
just
it's funny. The other ones you have to take like an hour to like. I have to flip through like a Tolkien book to get to your punchline. I have to read like that
was actually one of Joe's
to your punchline.
That was really great. One. Yeah, right to the testicles on that one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was good. These are both fun signings.
Yeah, in short, I think Ivy has amazing potential.
Yes.
If
I think people are sleeping. I think people are again like fast asleep. I mean, they're like, "Oh, Defiant didn't do good, so therefore Ivy has no skill." It's like, come on, guys! Like
is there a
that
head
team
coach
was just
announced?
a mess. Who? Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it KDG? KDG and
See, like if it's not announced now, then
well, it is now.
No, it is. Okay, it is. Yeah. It's getting hard, dude. Like
no, yeah.
I think if they can use him. Like I think this kid could be insane.
Yeah,
especially now
Philly's
into
gonna have
meta.
A sick lineup. Philly's up there.
I also think this kid could, like, again in the rumor phase, like the longer a meta lasts, I think the better he gets.
Ooh, you think? I think intuitive players tend to go down in general. I think intuitive players have a hard time adapting.
You gotta get that intuition though. I feel like you gotta hammer it. Like intuition is built on repetition, I feel like.
Sure. And those can be exploited by teams who are quick to adapt to them. And I feel like those habits have a hard players who are that kind of style of player have a hard time to break those habits. And I feel like the later you go into a meta, the harder it is to get them to break that, and they become like a weakness rather than a strength.
Yeah,
depending on how
mid-game talent, where at the very start of a meta they're not as strong, then during the intermediate phases of it, and then when mastery comes in, like
Yes, if you can get to mastery, then yeah, my whole argument goes out the window. It's more of a general, like if you are an intuitive player, it makes it harder to succeed as the meta proceeds.
Yeah,
for a long amount of time. Yep.
I've learned to sleep with my eyes open. Just kidding. You guys lost me on that one. I'm not gonna lie. It's not hard for either of you to do, but I want to talk about the Toronto Defiant signing Beast Halo potentially reported.
You're not high on
I'm going back to the fence.
Is that a 4?
Oh, really?
This is like a 5 out of, I don't know. Like we haven't seen him play in like a year.
See,
how am I supposed to be excited for this?
People keep saying that, but he did play in Contenders Korea. Not a lot, but a little
once or twice. Yeah. Is that enough? Can you tell me how good this is?
No,
off
but
of one
I
or two
can
games?
tell you that it's that like probably someone tried him out or someone has like
I would hope Defiant are trying people out.
Yeah. I don't know what I know as much as you do, right? I can tell you I thought he was a talent at one point in time.
Sure.
And I am concerned that if he was to be the main tank, would be the only one so far. Then
that for me opens up like a whole nut. Like I'm gonna pin that. I think we can get into like multi-tank signings later if you want, but I mean I agree with you, but like I think that's just like a general thing teams might start to do more is like opening up like a main tank stable just because of how important the role is.
Yeah, I think he's a fine signing in terms of like taking a gamble on someone that could peak higher than available Western main tank.
Definitely
talent. And
maybe
I think
has
that
some
team needs
intangibles.
I think that team needs pop-off potential in terms of what kind of signings are rumored. As they are, I think they have a hard ceiling on where they can go. And they need X factors that could elevate them past the point where they could maybe go for a playoff run. One of those multipliers or X factors is certainly Nevix, and depending on the meta. If that was to be the case, we have once of like I don't know which players are at all confirmed. And then again, like just to take that into correct context, when I'm talking matter of factly here, I'm also just speaking from a place of absolute ignorance of not knowing what's going on there, and I just look at what is presented by others, and I think. Just quickly, that's definitely one topic I want to get in. just like the reporting, how it is done in the scene, and how irresponsible some of that shit is. If we could get that in before we close out, I'd be very happy because I was very upset about
Let's
that.
do it.
just jump,
Let's do it
jump
right
into
now.
that yeah.
Okay, so I can tell you I would never use the word confirmed in reporting unless I've seen paper. Even if literally the owner, like if I was talking to Robert Kraft and he told me my Bong is signed, I would still not report that until I've seen either paper or have heard it from multiple sources, including the player. I would not. I would further not disclose any information that anyone in the industry just gives me without any backup information. And I feel like sources, you got also as a journalist, you as a evaluator of truth have to ask yourself, what is the intention of the person leaking this to me? And do they have an incentive to tell me distorted truth? And I feel like we've seen a bunch of them. And I also think that the sources that are currently giving information to journalists or whatever they call them, like, it's fine if you want to call yourself that. And I have no beef, but I think some people have a problem being called journalists. So I don't want to ascribe that to them. But just like ask yourself, are you being played? And the sources themselves just don't think you can't be figured out, because some people have figured it out. And to the people that are reporting, I don't think your shtick that you're currently pulling, like your way of working and confirming things, is going to work anymore if people just are on understanding how much rigor you lack in your process, and you will get screwed over by this eventually. In terms of you being the horn, if you want, of news that are simply incorrect. I can tell you, okay, here, Red Talk. This is an example. At the time, you know the Sideshow leak happened. Then Gamehouse reports that this was confirmed.
Sure.
It wasn't confirmed at the time. You guys absolutely could have put that signing into jeopardy by reporting on it. This offseason, a report has already jeopardized a signing for a team. I can tell you that. I'm not saying that was the case here. It could have. Not commenting on that. You gotta have some responsibility on that, especially with the already dodgy ethics of leaking these roster leaks. Right? So in terms of that, I really hope that both sources and as well as those reporting understand this is not a sustainable situation that we're currently under.
Sure.
I am not, like, if I report, I'm going nowhere without first-hand evidence. If someone comes to me with information, they can have a PowerPoint presentation and can talk me through that. I'm like, where's the contract? And better not like scanned in and just like digital thingy, but like an actual physical copy of it, so I can verify it as a journalist. Unless that's happening, I'm not putting my reputation on the line, dude.
That's a big risk. You're just really sticking your neck out there if you're gonna say confirmed as a verbiage, right? Like that holds a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And you've got to double check that stuff. Like, you do not want to be known as the guy or gal that is coming out with dodgy news, right?
Yeah.
But we are at a point, right, where a lot of the people who are leaking this information have no journalistic backgrounds or professional backgrounds in journalism, even if they don't have an actual, like,
I don't know,
degree in journalism.
I'm not saying maliciously either, right?
Sure.
Like, I'm not trying to piss people off. I'd take that to DMs in that case. I'm just saying, for everyone that's planning to get into this league game, do it responsibly. You're already on morally dodgy ice, and do it responsibly.
Sure. I want to talk about 2 signings really quick, just so we can mention them and then we can get out of here.
Sure.
Shanghai Dragons, kind of a big one. Rumored to have signed Fleta and Fate. Eh?
I like that DPS duo. Fleta Ding DM. I like a lot. That's an 8. That's an 8 out of 10. Fate, little bit lower. I'm gonna say like 7.5 with like higher upside. I think Fate has shown that in certain metas or maybe certain circumstances he can really, really thrive. Can he return to that point with a former coach of his leading the charge with the team and Coach Moon? We'll have to see, but solid signings all around. Very good, not necessarily great, but good signings for Shanghai, if to be true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean those are signings that bring you like into, I don't know. That's playoffs, right? I would put
I think
that's a lot closer,
so far.
right?
Yeah.
So far. Didn't quite get there. 13 and 15 last season. This season, I think a little bit closer for sure.
Mm-hmm. With that kind of roster, if you're not making play-ins at the very least, like you're messing up somewhere. So
yeah, I guess I would say more play-ins rather than like actual playoffs.
For sure.
Last one, New York Excelsior, rumored to sign Fury.
That's a fatty. If that's true, that's crazy.
Crazy good.
That's crazy good. Yeah, that's a 9 out of
Is that
10.
a 9?
That's a 9 out of 10.
What's
Not the perfect. I don't think I've seen
10 out of 10 signing.
I don't know. I'll know it when I see it. I really don't know.
The
Twilight
Houston Outlaws sign the San Francisco Shock.
Say that again.
The Houston
John?
Outlaws sign the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah, that's a like
10
anybody who gets crusty, that's a 10 out of 10. Like whoever's paying that out, like, okay, that's my gold star. Like you did it. But yeah, I don't see a 10 coming anytime soon. Unless, we go full on roster porn and you go to, Yiska's Twitter and look at that absolutely stacked Soul Dynasty team. If they're throwing around cash, like, I'm just saying that would be pretty interesting to see.
Just that backline would already be so good.
Slime Twilight on Soul.
Slime Twilight.
With who else they already have?
All right, we're gonna have to end this show here before
before shirts come off and we have to put a PG-13 tag on this.
Did not expect that.
I'm peeking already right now.
Did not expect that to happen. I said, hey guys, we need a way to get out of the show, and well, you found one.
There you go. See? Eject.
You did it. Oh man, fun show though. Sometimes, chat, you just gotta laugh. Have a little fun. Relax a little bit. Quit taking yourself too seriously. Otherwise, you'll become a self-proclaimed Overwatch journalist. Anyways, good show. Thanks for hanging out today, guys. Really do appreciate all the new subs and follows. Great chats all around. Sorry. I know there's a bunch. There's a bunch of other things I think that we could have talked about in more detail. But we're not going to. Next time. We'll get to it. Don't worry. There's a lot of shows, okay? A lot of shows.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might get Overwatch World Cup news. And we might be back. Who knows? We'll see.
Overwatch World Cup news in 2019, lol.
Yeah.
That's right. That's this week, isn't it? What are the brackets? You know what? Who's casting? Oh, we just found out yesterday.
Almost no one is actually scouting at World Cup. It's a scam. This tournament is so unimportant. Holy hell.
That's true. A lot of off season. So we'll get to it. Don't worry, guys.
Go play bridge with your grandma during that. Like,
I feel like that's a very personal call out to somebody.
Go play bridge with your grandma.
Somebody in the ether that is in our friend circle is very unhappy with that.
That's the name of the episode, with your grandma.
Playing bridge with your grandma.
Go play bridge with your grandma in the middle of the street.
There we go.
Yikes. All right. Let's get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out, guys. No new patrons or 5-star reviews, but if you like the show, those are 2 of the best ways to support. as well as right here on twitch.tv/KickedTripod. Sub here. We've got some cool perks for you. Croucher's chat is the only big brain chat left in competitive Overwatch. At least since we kicked bench. So.
Oof. Love bench.
I love bench too. Yeah. Joe, shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
Social media everywhere. Volamel. That's Volamel on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Not even though I don't stream. Anything I'm working on, doing a lot of video content, really trying to grow the YouTubes. So go check that out. Got a couple, hot takes on what's some of the more interesting roster moves. I'm going to be filming some of that after we wrap with the show, actually, and that'll be kind of drip fed throughout the week, throughout BlizzCon. I'll be at BlizzCon, so please come say hi if you see me. Gotta work on my next epic. But yeah, just doing the old same old stuff.
Cool. Yiska, what about you, man?
I think I might start streaming a little bit. I'm currently trying to get into League, but I'm certainly open to chat Overwatch while doing so. I'm not confident my PC could run an FPS game at satisfying FPS rates while having decent stream quality. So, but yeah, just open to chat there. I definitely still want to go start doing the thinking it overs again, and then maybe we'll see some writing of me soon as well.
Nice.
Cool. As for me, you can find me everywhere at KickedTripod. I've actually been playing around a little bit. It sounds really weird, but I've been playing around on streaming on Mixer. Mixer.com/KickedTripod. So yeah, it's been pretty cool hanging out, doing that, having fun. Otherwise, we're here, KickedTripod everywhere. No plans for content, though, really. Let's get out of here. And before we do, because we're not going to do a post show, let's thank all of our new subs and follows.
Yeah.
Benchmob gifting 5 subs after we insult him in the outro. It's the only way, I guess.
Yeah, it's up on those.
Thanks so much, Bench, for doing that. K0R, Haste the Hero, the Blue Meeple, JNJ Overwatch, Smack Me in the Tree, Mr. Beastie, and Fire Element 6. Thanks for the follows. Dat Game Guy 0703, who I threatened to ban. Thank you for the sub. It worked. Leonidas, thanks for the resub. Moen044, thanks for the resub. Eric, thanks for the resub. Y'all are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great one. We're getting out of here. We will not be back for a post show.
All right.
So figure it out. All right.